Welcome to the Orange Catholic Foundation Conference on Business Ethics vodcast. My name is Rand Sperry. I am the CEO of Sperry Commercial and Sperry Equities here in Irvine, California, and co-sponsor of the Business and Ethics Conference, which is coming up in February 18th. And I have with me Randy Redwitz, the other co-sponsor of the event. And Randy has his own CPA firm here in Orange County, among other various businesses. And we have a special guest today that we are going to interview, and it is Tim Conway Jr.
Oh, ding dong with you. Nice to see you, fellas. Randy, Rand, how are you?
I am great.
First four letters of both your names are R-A-N-D. Perfect.
There you go. Perfect.
So
hard to forget
for those people that don't know you, which there probably might not be anybody that doesn't know you here in Southern California, but Tim is a radio host, an actor, and a writer, host of the Tim Conway Show, which airs evenings from 6 to 10 p.m. on KFI 640. And by the way, I bet you know this, but your audience doesn't, but you are just edging on your 12th anniversary as hosting your own show here in Southern California, right? January 18th?
Yeah, it was right. Yeah, 12 years. And by the way, I'm the newest guy on the station.
Is that right?
It's true. Bill Handel's been there for 26 years. Gary and Shannon have both been there longer than I have. And John and Ken have been there since the late 80s. So I'm the newest guy on the station. And it's been already 12 years.
Wow.
My goodness.
That's phenomenal. Time flies, baby. So,
which I always say, look, it's to have a local talk show in Los Angeles, there are fewer of us than there are Dodgers playing for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So technically, it's harder to get a local talk show than it is to be on the Dodgers. You know who really is irritated about that? The Dodgers. They work their life to get on the Dodgers, and then I just roll out of bed, say ding dong, and I tell them it's easier to be on the Dodgers.
Well, yeah, but it's they pay a lot more though.
That's right. Oh yeah. No. I mean, especially some of these guys who have 100 or $300 billion contracts over a 10-year period. They're literally getting $300,000 per hit. It's crazy.
Isn't that something? I mean, when you start doing the math and how much they get per inning, and it's like mind-boggling. I don't know how we got on that subject, but I would like to talk a little bit about, the fact you were a former MC of the Business and Ethics Conference that we had a few years back, and you did a terrific job. We really enjoyed having you.
Oh, that was great. I remember I got a call from Rand, and he said, "Hey, we want you to come down and speak at our breakfast." And I said, "Oh, that's great." I said, "Who will I be introducing?" And you said, one of the people you'll be introducing is Vin Scully.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the other one is Deborah.
No, Patricia Heaton, who plays Deborah on Everyone Loves Raymond.
The Middle, and The Middle is one of the great shows of all time. If you haven't seen that show, watch it in reruns. The Middle is one of the greatest shows ever.
Tim, I've seen every episode.
It's fantastic.
It's really great. And Everyone Loves Raymond, of course. She was on that as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Look, she's had 2 hits. Most actors never have a single one, and she had 2 very successful shows. And Patricia Heaton is also one of the very few people in show business that is able to speak her mind and still have successul shows.
Yeah, that's right. She's very Catholic.
Very, yeah. She's like my mom. My mom, we used to go to it's a long story, but we got kicked out of 2 different parishes in the valley.
Oh,
we went to St. Mel's. My mom got us kicked out of there. Then we went to Our Lady of Grace, and we ended up at St. Cyril's. So it was just like right down Ventura Boulevard. We were like a Starbucks.
Was that because you guys couldn't keep quiet during church with 7 of you or 6?
It was because she was a very strict supporter of life, and her position is the ultimate strictest definition of when life begins. And if the priest wasn't totally on board, she had it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy, I see.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings us to the subject of the first question I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
you don't really know how we met, but how we met was I was driving home one night listening to your show, and you started talking about Catholic schools, and you went on for probably 20 minutes or whatever the next break might have been,
Right.
about how you felt about them. And I was just shell shocked. First, I didn't realize you were Catholic, number one, but number two, the fact that you felt so passionate about them. So I just wanted to ask you, to talk about, I know you probably don't even remember that show that you did when you talked about it, but tell us what you think of Catholic schools.
Well, I went to a private school when up until second grade. Then in third grade, my dad put me into Catholic school, and I survived there for a little while. And then I went when my dad eventually put us all into public school because he had 6 kids, right?
Yes.
But if I had to do it all over again, I would have stayed in Catholic school all the way through high school, and then maybe gone to a college that that is predominantly Catholic. Because the friends of mine that stayed with it, they are so much more stable in life. There's no addiction problems. Their kids are well behaved, and they just seem to have a much more stable life. And they all attribute that to Catholic school. So if you can get your kids out of public school, if they're young, right, they haven't made a ton of friends, and it's easy to move the kids. Man, I think Catholic school is the best investment in a child's life by far.
Well, you're talking to the choir here. I have 6 children. They all went to Catholic grade school and high school. Several went to Catholic colleges as well. And
Okay.
Randy has 4 children, and I think,
No, 5.
of course, 5. I'm sorry, geez, 5. So he's right behind me, and they all. I think he started the schools.
Yeah, they all went to.
Which are the real predominant Catholic schools? Notre Dame has got to be the top one, right?
Oh, and the collegiate
In some people's opinion.
LMU is very popular.
Well, Boston College. Boston
College.
Well, I didn't know Boston College was a Catholic college.
Yes,
yeah.
Jesuit.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are very popular. Gonzaga is another very popular one.
I didn't know that. I didn't know Gonzaga was one of them. Wow, they have a terrific basketball team lately too.
Yeah, and Santa Clara University up there.
That's where one of my daughters went there, and then University of San Diego, USD is also.
Yeah, that's right.
Catholic, and USF is a Catholic.
That's right.
Oh, that's great.
I
think it's great. I mean, to be in a Catholic college, your parents rest at night a lot easier. Knowing that those, the teachers, the priests, the nuns, everybody looks after these kids.
I really believe the first colleges, some of the first colleges and most formative growth of colleges in the United States was from the Catholics.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, look, I'm sitting here in the Vatican, and you're preaching to the choir as well, man. These people love Catholics around here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, Tim, we were gonna ask the second question. I think you've already answered it to some degree, and that is, did you go to Catholic school, and why, and if not, why not?
Well, I went up until third grade, and it's a super long story. But my mom was a very strict Catholic, and so she put us through CCD. And, we all made our, first confession and communion and confirmation. By the way, I have a question for you guys. This debate's been going on our show. When you're confirmed, is it your first name, your confirmation name, your middle name, and your last name? Or is it first name, middle name, confirmation, last name?
Boy.
I'm going to defer to Randy on that one.
I'm not sure.
My confirmation name is Walter, so I always say Timothy Walter Dalton Conway. I don't really know if that's right or not. We'll have to ask Bishop Van.
I guess we're going to have to, because I don't know that exactly.
Legally, it isn't part of your middle
right
name.
Legally.
Sure. Right, exactly.
So I'm sure the bishop will say, of course, that the patron saint name comes first.
You know what? I was driving with Bishop Van, and I'd come down to Orange County. We're going to go out to lunch, and I was really nervous when I was driving with him because I figured, look, he's a huge part of the Orange County Catholic experience. He's the top guy amongst Orange County Catholics, and I don't want to get into any kind of accident or altercation or anything with him. And I said to him, I said, Bishop Ann, I know I'm going below the speed limit here, but I'm really nervous driving you around. I mean, you could be the next pope. And he says, well, because I don't know how long you've been a Catholic, but you have to be a cardinal first before you become pope. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So you're not in the running? He says, no, I'm not in the running. He said, let's hit it. We better get to 90 miles an hour.
There you go.
Oh, goodness.
Oh,
But
well,
Catholic school is fantastic. Again, all my buddies that went through Catholic school, a guy named Jason Zlako went through Catholic school all the way to 12th grade. Then he went on to Boston College, and just the most stable guy in the world. Just a really good father, a good husband, a good businessman, always giving back to his community. And I think if it wasn't for Catholic school, he would have been a much different guy, much different.
So you have a daughter. I've heard you
Yes.
talk about her on the show. Does she go to Catholic school?
She goes to public school here in Burbank because we were part of St. Cyril's for a while, and then we moved down to Orange County, and I sort of lost my way there for a while, and I wanted to put her into Catholic school in Burbank. So we met with the priest there and the person who ran the school, and they said that my wife and I have to each do like 1,000 hours of volunteer work before we can get the kid into. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is like taking another job here.
Really?
But I you know what? I made a mistake. If I do it all over again, she definitely would have been in Catholic school because. Once they get ingrained into public school and they get friends, it's very hard to
get out. Very hard to make.
Well, now she's still in grade school, right? She's not in high school.
She's going to be a junior next year in high school.
Oh gosh, she's
Wow.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, because when I met you, I remember she was in grade school. That has been about 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's wild how time flies, man. It's unbelievable.
It is a very hard transition. Rand and I have a lot of experience with Santa Margarita Catholic High School. And,
sure.
And you see the students coming in, a lot of students come in from public school, and it's a little rougher transition because they're leaving their friends behind, and
right.
Very quickly they acclimate, but still it's a bit of a rough bridge there sometimes.
Right, and not only friendship wise, but academically, they're behind as well.
Yeah, that's true too. Many times.
And I have no experience with being behind academically, fellas.
I bet you don't.
Oh, great.
Adam Carolla had something very funny. He's a very funny man. He said that people who are unsheltered, or they used to call them homeless. He said people who are now experiencing homelessness, and he goes, experiencing homelessness? Oh yeah, he goes, I guess like in high school, I was experiencing a 1.8 GPA.
I love
You dog with that guy.
That's a great way to put it.
I know.
Experiencing it.
Well, Randy, you got a question about
Sure.
big family, don't you?
Yeah, you have 6. You're one of 6 children.
That's
Is that right, Tim?
That's correct. One of 6. And we were the smallest family on the block where my dad was from in Sugar and Falls. The Carltons had 13. The Bresnahans had 12. The Brennans next door had 11. And they kept saying to my mom, why are you stopping at 6? What's wrong with you?
It's all relative.
So the ultimate question is, what do you think your parents did right for you? I mean, how did they send you in the right direction?
Well, my dad was working a lot, obviously, to raise 6 kids, a wife, and to keep a household like that going, you got to really work a lot. But the one thing that they both gave us is just the ability to look at things in a very light way. My dad's rule always was, don't panic. Whatever comes up, don't panic, right? And so I've tried to instill that with my daughter. So the first 12 years of her life, every time something happened, whether it's big or small, I said, look, it's not going to be easier and you're not going to handle it better if you panic. Don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. Hundreds of times. So July 6th, 2 years ago, we have a big earthquake, right? You guys all remember that earthquake on July 6th, right?
Yeah.
I go out to the garage and our car is literally moving back and forth in the garage. So I run upstairs. I open up my daughter's bedroom and she's standing in her robe. She just got out of the shower. And I said, you got to get out of this house. We got to get out of this house. This thing is going to fall down. We got to get going. And she says to me, she goes, Dad,
don't panic.
I'm going to throw some clothes on. I'll meet you downtown. I'll meet you downtown. Isn't that great?
Don't panic, Dad.
It was the best moment of my life.
There
right?
you go. She listened. She
She
listened to you.
wasn't panicking. Ding dong.
Well, by the way, for those people out there listening, Tim Conway Jr. is the son, the eldest of Tim Conway, who I think pretty much if you're over probably 30 or 35, you know who his dad was, a great comedian and actor. And my favorite, McHale's Navy, when I was
McHale's Navy was great.
8 or 9 years old. You weren't even born yet, or you were just born when that show was on. And
Well,
I
I was
couldn't
born
wait.
during that show.
what?
My dad got a call. He was on the set with Ernest Borgnine, bless him, and he got a call on the set saying your first son is about to be born at Cedars of Lebanon, which becomes Cedars Sinai. I think it's now a Scientology building. So anyways, my dad jumped in a car, screamed down the 101 freeway, ran down the hall, and when he's running down the hall, everybody's saluting him because he still had his Navy outfit on.
Oh no.
That's a great story.
And so he's hearing whispers of, God, he just got back from Da Nang to see his first kid. Little did they know he just crossed the set of Gilligan's Island and Lucille.
Yeah, really.
Universal.
Right.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I bring that up because it's even more of a challenge being a son of a star at the time, especially that you and I'm sure your siblings turned out so well.
Well, there's something comforting about the strong possibility of total defeat, that we're never going to be as popular or make as much money. So you sort of have a much easier life.
I know. Well, you're probably not kidding about that because I know I have one of my sons said that to me when he was going to Santa Margarita. He says, my friends call this place Sperry Margarita. Said, I just don't know if I can ever fill your shoes. I was president of the school board, one of the reasons
I met
Randy. And I had a decently large national real estate company. And he said that for quite a while. He says, I don't know how I'm ever going to fill those shoes. And I said, son, don't worry. You'll find your way and you'll find your path. And he's become very successful.
Oh, that's great.
Along with my other kids. So,
and by the way, that's a sensational school as well. And a lot of people, like you ran, have gone back and continued to be involved with that school well after you graduated, which is sensational.
Yeah, it's
we're very biased. We're very biased to that.
Yes.
There are 4 or 5 other Catholic schools in Orange County. They're all really good. I mean, honestly, I'm impressed with all of them.
I went to a public school. I went to Birmingham High School in the Valley, and about 25 years after I graduated, I got a call at KFI, and they said it was a couple of students from Birmingham High School, and they said, hey, they're about to change the mascot from Birmingham Braves to Birmingham Patriots. Can we come on the air to try to keep the Birmingham Braves mascot? And I said, well, to be honest, I didn't care when I went there. I'm going to care 30 years later.
Oh, well, our time is just about up. But if you've got any final comments, things you'd like to say about the Catholic experience, Catholic schools. I do have one thing.
Okay, sure.
That I wanted to, I thought it pretty humorous. I was mentioning to somebody that you were going to be on our podcast today. And she said, I remember hearing a story about Tim when he was young, speaking of the family thing. Sure. His dad was kind of waiting up for him, and then he went to bed. And then the next morning, he's
that's just
Tim Jr. comes downstairs. He goes, son, what time did you get in last night? And
Yeah, so that's it. That's a true story. My curfew in high school was midnight, which is pretty good, right?
yeah.
And so he comes down. I got home around 6:30 in the morning.
Oh, boy.
For a long night of just, doing stupid stuff like high school kids do. So my dad wakes me up at 9 o'clock and he says, what time did you get home last night? And I said, 11:50,
Oh.
maybe 59. And he says, and he starts walking out and he says, I said, what time did you get home? I said, right around midnight. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, the newspaper gets delivered at 5:30, and he walks away. Right. And so I stop and I go, hey, wait. What does a newspaper have to do with me? He goes, your car's parked on it.
Awesome. Busted.
By that much.
All right.
And that was the old LA Times, which was,
Yeah.
like getting your car up on a rack.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I figured it
Another
was.
thing he used to like to do, he would come into my room and he would write a check for me. He goes, hey, I want to give you a check for $600. That's how much it costs to carpet your room. You saved me that kind of money. And I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? He says, well, I can jump on your jacket and then on your pants, and then on a book, and then a lunch bag, a newspaper, and a wet towel. I never have to use the carpet in here.
There you go.
You're going to say this carpet's going to be beautiful for decades. And that was his way of saying, clean the
In
room
your room.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
without saying it.
That's very special.
Using humor
That's
to
right.
teach you. That's
But
great.
Very
look,
special.
that's a much better way to do it because look, I've told that story hundreds and maybe even thousands of times, and that's what kind of effect it had on me, as opposed to him just coming in and saying, "Look, I'm tired of this room being dirty. Clean it."
Yeah. You
Yeah,
still
so
remember.
true.
it.
Yeah.
Well,
Fellas, it was great to be part of this.
great.
I got
Great
to
to
get
have
back
you.
to the Vatican. We're having lunch in the Sistine Chapel here. So
Oh, good.
keep going with the both of you. Randy, nice to meet you, and Rand, always nice to see you, buddy.
All right.
Great.
It's been great
Wonderful
talking to
to meet
you.
you.
And I just want to mention to everyone listening that the Business and Ethics Conference will be held this February 18th at the JW Marriott here in Orange County. And Luke Zamperini is going to be our keynote speaker. He's the son of Louis Zamperini,
Wow.
who was the story behind the movie called Unbroken. Just an amazing story of his survival in World War II after being captured by the Japanese. Should be very interesting. And again, Randy Redwitz and myself are the co-chairs of that event, not the co-sponsors, although we do sponsor the event. I realize I said that in the beginning, but we're the
That's
co-chairs.
okay.
And we're really looking forward to having a big sellout crowd. And again, Tim, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Tim.
God bless both of you.
Honored to meet you.
Nice
Thank you.
to see you guys.
Bye-bye.